It's 5 p.m. and time for the regular scheduled July 16, 2024 meeting of the Niagara Parish School Board. Board members and visitors, please silence your cell phones and electronic devices as not to interrupt the meeting. Thanks for that cooperation. Board members, now that we're required by law to televise the meetings, please speak clearly and loudly so that the camera microphone can receive your comments. Our viewers have contacted me saying that some of our board members are very soft-spoken, they can't hear what's being said, and they really would like to hear that. I'm going to offer the invocation. Ms. Barbara Page is going to do Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Lord, thank you for the many blessings that you've showered upon us as a country and as a community. Please protect us from the senseless violence that's plaguing our nation in large cities and also locally in our small town. Please give us the guidance to make the right decision as the Niagara Parish School Board and all other government bodies. Also, please provide your grace with safety for all of our faculty, staff, and students for this upcoming year. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Rose, we have a roll call.
Mr. Daly.
Here.
Mr. McGuire.
Here.
Mr. Benfield.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Present.
Mrs. McGaskey. Here. Ms. Palmer. Ms. Phelps.
Here.
Ms. Harvey.
Here.
Mr. Frager.
Here.
Mr. Nicholson.
Here.
And Ms. Page.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. We have no speaker forms for any agenda item, so therefore we won't have speakers from the public. Board members, some of you have expressed an interest in serving as vice president and president of the board, and we'll be selecting a new president and vice president in January 2025. And I encourage all that are interested in positions to please inquire. Ask questions and understand the commitment level of how this position will affect you. As president, it's a minimum of about 15 hours a week, and as vice president, it's about 8 hours a week. And that doesn't include the times where you're required to be make appearances and represent the board. So there's a lot of time constraints that go along with it, and also decisions. If you're interested, please call me or Mr. Danzy or Ms. Reba or even Pastor Harris if you have any questions about the position. And so, Ms. Reba, anything you'd like to add to that?
I just want to encourage everyone, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and do it. It's the most fun you will ever have. It's
I'm just
it is. It's so much fun. Do not delay. Sign up quick.
Pastor Harris, your experience is a little different. You went to the hospital after you got to be president.
I went into hiding after I was
It's a good point. Anyway, okay, enough of that, but actually, please inquire. Go ahead and ask about anything that you may have a question about. It's a rewarding experience, and but it also brings some strife to your life. So, okay. Superintendent, you want to lead us out?
Yeah, just a few updated items. Number one, we want to invite you out tomorrow at the Prather Coliseum from 4:30 to 6:30 because we are having the Glow with NPSB, and there's a ton of vendors. The kids get to come out and they do their little passport thing, and then they get their free backpack and school supplies. It was amazing last year, and I imagine it's going to be even bigger, better, awesome, whatever you want to call it, tomorrow. So please be out there. We'll all be out there. There's booths for all sorts of things. The other thing I'd like to bring up is Ms. McGaskey, I think this is going to be something that you're very interested in. I believe you've asked me about tutors for a long time now. And recently, the legislature passed a $30 million one-time allotment for schools to implement tutoring programs. We are just now, in the month of July, finding out what our allotment is and what the program is actually about. By September 15th, we have to present our plan to LDOE for a rollout of what that tutoring is. The tutoring is for students who are in grades, I believe, 3rd through 5th. And those students who are eligible are those students who have not performed at a certain level on the LEAP test and things of that nature. More than likely, we will be working with a vendor because the allotment they're giving us, we believe is going to be around a little over $200,000. The initial use for that money can either be used for hiring your own tutors, which, as you can imagine, to find highly qualified folks, especially at this time of the year, we're not looking at gift horse in the mouth, but it's kind of late in the game that they just gave us this money. And then also that $220,000 with benefits and all that stuff would go relatively quick. What we do know is there's a vetted list of vendors that LDOE is providing us. Some of those may be online, some of those may be face-to-face. So we're in the process of doing that, but just know that this year you will see what the state's calling, and what we're calling high dosage tutoring throughout the district for those students who are most in need of that. Now, what is high dosage tutoring? High dosage tutoring is 30 minutes of intense, either one-on-one, one-on-two, but no more than 1-on-4, meaning one instructor with 4 students, for 30 minutes a day, at least 2 to 3 times a week. And so that will go in parallel with what we're already providing at our largest elementary, LP Vaughn, where we're in Weaver, where we're providing the literacy interventionists as well. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that. There's more information to come because this literally got dropped on us. We've been hearing about it, but the details got dropped on us pretty much in the past week. So I thought that would be something that you'd all be very interested in. And other than that, that's the only updates I have.
Well, board members, I know you spent all week studying these education bills that the legislature passed. Do we have any follow-up questions from last Tuesday?
I just wanted to ask, in regards to the tutoring, are we still gonna have the smart choice program for K through 5? Are they still gonna be able to?
Is it? Are you talking about with? Are you referencing Steve Carter literacy?
Yes.
We're looking at multiple vendors for Steve Carter because there's been multiple vendors who put their name in the hat. So we're trying to gauge that and see, what works best for the district. So we're definitely gonna have Steve Carter. I can't speak to exactly what vendor that will be yet because we're still vetting.
Dr. Eli, okay, the tutoring, is that gonna cover our exceptional students too?
Yes, ma'am. It's any student who didn't at least meet basic on LEAP. So unfortunately, that probably will cover a large portion of our special education students. And that will be in math and ELA, math and reading, I'm sorry. That's it.
Would like to consider the consent agenda.
I'll offer.
Second. We have an offer by Pastor Harrison, second by Mr. Frady, consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Old business superintendent, and Mr. Kozad gave us a bus tracking device report last week. Any?
Yeah, he actually can show you. Oh, he's giving me a. Are you gonna be able to show the demonstration?
I'm about to find out. My phone decided to crash on me there, and I had to reset it.
If you look over here behind you, this is what parents will see when they access the app. So you go to the app, you go to the menu, and you go to bus live locations. And you scroll down and you say, I'm on Route 11. And it shows you where your bus is located. And at that point, where are we at? We're near the bypass, right?
Yeah, that pin struck over bus that went.
Yeah. So this is a
Example.
of what folks are going to look at. To me, I think this is, Ms. Reba, I think this is exactly what you were
Right.
thinking.
It's so user friendly. I know the parents will they'll love that. Do
Yeah.
we think it's going live
So what we're
2
going
weeks or?
what we're thinking is right now is we're going to have it. So we received the little GPS trackers that Echo is going to be installing, correct?
They're on the way.
On the way, sorry. So those will be installed. Once those are installed, The major issue is making sure parents know their students' route numbers. It's probably what we're gonna do is make it live on day one, but put out some sort of notice that, you know, it's not going to be completely functional until a date that because for some parents, you know, my kids have been on the same bus for the past 3 years. We know their route number, nothing's gonna change. And so we wanna be able to utilize that, but we do wanna preface it by saying, you may not see exactly what you want until perhaps later.
That's awesome. Thank you for getting that together.
Well, thank Echo Road also, because they were a good partner in this. We met last week, and I think we've got a good plan on how we're gonna be able to implement it and adapt the bus changes without too much disruption, and hopefully not a lot of failure points.
And that's the big issue that we've been working through with Jacob is when a driver is absent and someone takes over their route, making sure the logistics of that doesn't confuse people, and we have people clicking on Route 11 and their kids in Clucheville when they're supposed to be in Riedheimer. I don't know. So
I think we need to be pretty clear to parents too that this is not a tool to chase a bus down and get a kid out of your convenience.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because I do see that's the only problem I see with this.
Yeah.
Because it will happen.
Have you done that?
No, I haven't.
It's some kind of
It will happen. They will want to do that for their convenience, but you know, we can't have buses just stopping all the time to drop kids off at random places.
We are going to be putting not a press release, but a big post out that kind of explains it, and I'm sure Ms. Paris will do a little caveat.
Mike, in the rural areas, is this dependent, the GPS tracker should work independently of internet connection, right? But depending on where the parent is, if they don't have great connection.
Correct, so it uses, I think actually 3 different brands receivers on a cellular-based ping. So think of old school cell phones before, you know, you had LTE. It just needs to ping off of those towers to triangulate the position of the device. So theoretically, they're supposed to work really well in the rural areas. And it's not, you don't have to have 5G or LTE, you know, out in Goldon in order for it to work. It should work off of the most simple, basic of cell services.
And you will be able to access it via your app, or, you know, if you have a computer at home, you can log on to NPSB.LA.
Okay, next item, old business. Ms. Phelps, discuss and consider edits to the student handbook regarding electronic.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we worked with or heard from some of the principals, and they needed clarification on some items.
Is this a voting item?
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Oh, no problem. No problem. So anyway, they just needed clarification on a couple of things and wanted a couple of corrections that would actually make their lives easier as principals. But before we talk about it, this does say 5th through 8th, but we got rid of that, right? So it's all.
I kept 5th through 8th and 9th through 12th. There's really no true difference, but I kept those the same.
Separated?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought if I went too deep, it would get even more confusing.
Okay, so the first thing we're clarifying is the first offense, they preferred that phone to be released to a parent. And the cell phone committee worked together, and we all agree with the same thing that they need clarified. On the subsequent offenses, they wanted the out-of-school suspension changed to short. Do you mind explaining exactly what short is? Is that just in school? Or?
It's a version of in-school suspension where they get, they're not going to be put out of school.
Okay.
They'll be sent over to the alternative school?
Yes, ma'am.
With their work.
Correct.
Okay. And then also, if at any point the student refuses to give up their cell phone, then the principal has the discretion to increase discipline, severity in a manner they deem fit. And then the very last thing that was brought up, on one of the paragraphs, we used the word or.
I took that out, and that's where I put this.
Okay. So we removed that because they did not want to give the student, the impression they got to choose their punishment. And so I know we all agree with that too. So those are just the edits that we made, and there's nothing.
And I also added, if you look at the top, I updated GPS trackers. I know we were just talking about GPS trackers on buses, but we've actually had some situations where parents are sending GPS trackers with their students to school, that have communication ability. And there's actually a recent law, so we added that as well.
Okay, so that's there as well. But those are the clarifications we wanted to make, and we are asking the board to support the cell phone committee on that and agreement with it.
One other thing, it satisfies Mr. McGuire's desire to not hold the phone over the weekend, correct?
It still says that. It still says not to hold it over the weekend. I will say this, though, there may be situations where the school is forced to hold it over the weekend because no one comes and picks it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's on, yeah, and that's on.
Okay, I just want to make sure that,
Yeah, I mean, if they don't show up, they don't show up.
yeah.
It's not on us, it's on them, not even you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to this revision. I'd like to have a roll call vote on it. Ms. Ruffins?
Mr. Danby?
Yes.
Mr. LaFleur?
Yes.
Mr. Minifield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. And that concludes that portion of the agenda. Ms. Hicks, can you lead us in the information?
And there's not a podium, so I'll just stand. If that's okay, I think I can make myself heard. We did have a claim in May of a little over $261,000. And for the month of summer school, we were able to submit an additional claim for right at $50,000. We had 5,790 breakfasts served during summer school and a little over 7,000 lunches. That was for 15 days that we were in session. I had to amend the last part of my report. It says rapid progress is being made on the warehouse freezer cooler project. I would like to share that it was turned on today. So I went in with the guy to look at that's rapid progress, even more rapid than I thought. It is truly amazing to see. It is so new and so clean and such a wonderful, safe place to house all of our food. I encourage y'all to stop by. I'm so pleased because the timing is great. We are not going to miss a beat. I'm hopeful that it'll stay on the rest of this week and through the weekend, and then we will be moving the food that we have currently in old freezers that are remaining in, and then we'll be able to demo that area to build the cooler. And we have enough cooler storage left over that it will be seamless. So no disruption, no need for temporary storage. I think I can sleep better at night knowing that we're where we are. But please come by and see it because it is just a real feather in our cap for Natchitoches Parish School Board, and we should never be losing any food ever because we have lots of space there. So come see us.
Ms. Hicks, are you still the largest restaurant around?
I am.
I've seen where we serve 13,000 meals in 15 days of service.
That's
Yes.
unreal.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. They do a great job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sarah?
Hello. I'll try to project my voice as well. I uploaded the federal programs grants for 24-25. Right now, we are operating with 2 big grants for federal Title I. And I just gave a description of those, what those funds are used for, and Title II. We do anticipate receiving our Title V, Title IV funding, which we plan to move to Title I, and then our refunding, but that has yet to be allocated. And so I just wanted to give you a picture of our current state. If you scroll down, Mike, there's a graph on the Title I distribution of funds, on what that looks like, how we allocated the funds based on instructional programs, administration costs, school-based funds. We have to set aside a portion for neglected children, homeless, and parental engagement, and of course, our preschool English learners and our indirect costs. So I'll stop here if you have any questions on what is being presented to you. If you scroll to the next page, those are our student funds, we call them school-based funds. And each year, once we have pulled down our district reservation, that was in that first graph, there's this magic formula in EGMS that populates based on the percentage of students, our disadvantaged students, how much each school is allocated. And that is what you're looking at there. I had the pleasure of meeting individually with each principal in June to discuss their strategic plan for utilizing those funds. These funds are to be supplemental to the students' current educational needs. And so I always say this goes above and beyond what the district is obligated to provide all schools, regardless of their Title I status.
Ms. Rochelle, it's interesting to point out, NSU Middle Lab is now a Title I school.
Yes, and SU Middle Lab is now a Title I school. That's one principal I haven't met with yet. I have to do an onboarding with her. And the State Department is still working with us on this because according to them, there are several schools that in the state of Louisiana that transitioned in. And so we're working on a plan to onboard an SU Middle Lab. The Title IIA distribution is focused on quality teaching and learning and effective educator workforce. I want to point out, I don't know if I'm scrolling, might scroll a little bit, the initiatives that are being funded. Resident teacher stipends, a portion of that, certification and reimbursements with the support of Ms. Page and Ms. Ramona Winder. We have revamped and enhanced what we're currently doing in terms of tracking, and I'm already assigned some of those today. Our pre-K teacher incentive, the pre-K teachers are not included in the NIET, the TAP system, and so we had to get creative and make sure we were in alignment with how our K through 12 teachers are being reimbursed for showing growth with their students. And so we have a portion of that, professional development and substitute teachers for professional development, which is going to be very important with the lead teachers, the master teachers and the lead teachers that we have in the schools, and being able to provide that job embedded instruction. I just added in a chart just so you can kind of get a breakdown of what we received from the federal level that funnels down to the state. We did receive redesign funds and keep scrolling, right? Slow down, sorry. Redesign funds are allocated for our schools that receive a label, a critical intervention label, or UIRD label for discipline. And so I'm happy to report every year it goes down. We have less and less schools.
Bittersweet with losing labels,
And then
but
we
losing
lose
money.
money, I mean, they take it away immediately, and we use that to provide high quality curriculum and effective implementation. So that's how we allocated those funds. And the teaching and learning department, they're the key stakeholders in making decisions around the redesign funds. And that's all I have. Individual itemized school-based budgets are available upon request. So if y'all ever want those, I've been working hard to develop a process to share that publicly. We are required to do so to share how our schools are utilizing their Title I funds.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And I don't know if there's another question, but Mr.
I
Frady.
do have a question. Okay. How did the lab school criteria change to enable it to become a Title I school? Don't they still have to pay tuition? Does that have anything to do with?
No, it doesn't.
I know that's totally different, but how did the status change and able to become a Title I school?
Their number of students that are below the poverty line as it's defined increase.
Okay, so it has to do with the financial status.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I'm sorry, Mr. Fradu had a question. He wanted to know the status of the pre-K numbers and the waiting list, right?
I can give you that. So for Fairview, they're full. They, had 20 applications, we verified 20 students. Godana's at 10 applications that have been approved, 9 of which are LA4, 1 are Title I. And it's important to say because our preschool program depends heavily on LA4. We receive $5,580 per student, but only if they're in attendance 74% of the time. So I didn't include a budget in the early childhood budget I'm gonna share with you in just a second, because we only receive that money after we turn in attendance every month.
And do they have any on the waiting list?
Godana, so they unofficial waiting list, I'm gonna talk about that. So we have a wait list of those applications who are completed, and we take them, we put them in order by date. They have 2 individuals who have inquired, but they haven't completed everything by the deadline. So they're at 10, and that's where they must stay to maintain their program. LB Bond, they have, you're asking a wait list?
Well, just
I
kind
don't
of.
know LP Bond. Somebody inquired.
Absolutely. LP Bond, they have 0 on the wait list because we just hired a teacher, the support of the state, we just hired our last teacher. We were able to open that class. We have 2 that are in processing. They multiple attempts to just get information, trying to get all the information. For LA4, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's.
Because that's income-based, correct?
It is income-based, it is, we heavily audited every year on LA4. And so we're waiting on that, but that's all we have now. I will tell you, so I'm gonna be fully transparent, we have 14 families from LP Bond that met the June 1st deadline, but they did not submit all documents. We have multiple calls out to them, letters out to them, and they for some reason were not able to supply the necessary documents. But LP Bond, I'm happy to say, is full where we need them to be to start a grade year with 4 classrooms at LP Bond.
4 full classes?
They're done, not exactly 4, we're gonna do 16 max at that school. Marthaville, did I answer your question? Marthaville has 0 on the wait list, they have 4 seats available. We opened up pre-K registration again for the next 2 weeks.
So we're at 16.
You're at 16, that's a good one. Baggage Magnet, they have 40 and 40, that's how many seats they have available. Province Sol, they technically have 3 on the wait list. Those 3, let me back up, they started with 26 applications for the June 1st deadline. Out of those 26, we were able to make a class meeting the LA4 requirements of 1 to 20. So we took the 20 that we looked at the date they submitted the application and completed the application and was approved. From there, we had 6 left, 3 were incomplete. Most calls there, and then we had 3 on the wait list where we notified those 3 families after it was determined that we were going to move forward with 1 class. We have since opened up registration for Province Sol until July 25th on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today we had 3 people that came in and qualified. And all of that is contingent upon, of course, filling those LA4 seats, because once again, the program will not, you can't fill in the program. And so that's the wait list with that. Technically, we had 3 on the wait list in case the 20 original, they dropped.
Right.
We went to the wait list and we already had those ranked.
So throughout the year, if one drops from this school, I mean, you would contact whoever's on the wait list to fill that spot if they dropped in October or something? Is that doable?
It is doable, to do so. It causes havoc for the schools, but that is something that we practice. We also practice, if a child leaves another district and they have been pre-approved for an LA4 seat, we have to, give them an option if we have it available to allow them to come in to that school.
Will we let parents from one of our districts that's on a waiting list attend in a different place if there are openings there? Does that make sense?
In our district or in another?
Within our district?
Different attendance zones. Do the
Right.
attendance zones
Okay.
play a big part
Let's
of
say-
pre-K?
Let's say Provincetown has a waiting list of 4 or 5 kids, but there's 3 openings at wherever, LP Vaughn. Would those kids have the option to go into LP Vaughn?
We could give them that option and give them a 1 year, like a school choice type thing for 1 year.
It
A
just feels
hardship.
like, we should, if we got kids that want to be in school, we
Place.
find a place for them, right? If at all possible, if there's any way we can finagle that, but I would think that would be super high priority.
And that is absolutely a priority, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's something we do. As the Early Childhood Network, we have a partnership with Save the Children Head Start. We're trying to help them fill, seats. Even today, we, spoke with them on yesterday, they have, seats on Gold Street, they're still trying to fill. We have type 3 early care and education centers, child care centers, they have public pre-K, they have their type 3 pre-K programs, and so what we try to do for the wait list, we give them an option, and we talk, all of these parents who have an official wait list, they were, given information about other programs, every single one. We actually had one from Provincetown that had mentioned Marthaville as another option. They were originally on the wait list, and because they were willing to do that, they were placed for 1 year at Marthaville.
Now, when they place like that out of zone, the parent have to bring it, or are we busing them?
The parent has to bring it, yes, sir.
Okay.
And they are notified of that as well, and they also, that they have to maintain 74%, that's very important. So if you're driving from Natchitoches to Provincetown, and make sure you have that scheduled.
And they have to, birthday has to be a certain time frame before school starts for the current year, right?
Yes, ma'am, by September 30.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, that's something with us for this year that was challenging, and I think it led to Provincetown for the first time not having two classrooms. We have a lot of kids who are going to turn 4 in October, in November. And I had a mama today, she's like, but he's really smart. And I know, I said, Mom, I know he's really smart, here's some other options. The LA4 guidelines state that they have to turn 4 before September 30th. So we received 228 applications by June 1st. We were able to approve 185 of those applications. And then we were able to place some additional families, I don't have that number, but I know we were able to place some in 2 of our type 3 child care centers. But that number is down from last year because of what I just stated. We have a lot of 4-year, 3 and 3/4 and more of 4-year toddlers.
My last question.
Sure.
To officially be on that wait list, does all the stuff have to be approved?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
So
no problem, my pleasure.
did Save the Children pull out of Fairview?
They did post that site, they are
Yes, sir.
looking to open Natchez. It's not going to be ready, and I won't speak for them, but they did give us an update. We are our organization, the Natchez Parish Early Childhood Network, and so we collaborate a lot. Right now, they are full at LP Vaughn Head Start. They have openings on Gold Street, and there's hoping to open Natchez in early fall. They did pull out of there. Anything else?
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
That's my pleasure. We'll look at the early childhood, I have have one more document, I'll go through it real quick because I don't want to keep it out too long. It's just, this is our budget proposal. Early childhood funding was cut $9 million. It's not anything that we did, it's just, that's what, originally, it was 23 million was on the chopping block. And we felt the 9 million loss. And so we had to get pretty creative on our budget, for this coming up school year. We just received our funds, and so this just outlines, if you scroll down, the proposal that we have to submit. Keep going. Oh, okay, wait, okay. We were awarded $100,000 for the Ready Start Network, and that's kind of what I just talked to you guys about, that organization that we have. And we have a CEA with the city of Natchez that helps us get those background checks taken care of for our early childhood program partners. Our early childhood network secretary, we're going to spend funding on that. Our school met enroll, which we prioritize because of questions parents have. I submitted my application, and she did. I have the time, the date, everything's on there, and it's in one place. It's our one shop for all of our program partners to have a centralized enrollment. And so we have that funding, and then we have, I want to say this, our early childhood funds. I'm excited about this, and I'll stop talking, but I'm really excited. Last year, the Rapides Foundation donated a little over $600,000, and they tasked us to take that money and provide new seats to families at Type 3 child care centers for full paid tuition. Then they also challenged us to go out into our community and seek donations. And so we were able to do that, and we ended up with $639,000, I believe $400 in the state match. So we have about $1.2 million that we're looking to fill about 70 seats. We're excited. Monday is going to roll out. We spoke with our program partners on Monday, this past Monday. We explained to them how the reimbursement process worked. And so now we just need children to fill, infants, 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, and 3-year-olds. We're working with area businesses to go out and set up camp in their break room. One of the things that, and I have to say, my early childhood team is awesome. I do all of anything that's wrong, come see me. Everything that's right is all there. Truly, they do amazing. They are setting up, they're calling HR at different businesses and asking, can they come and qualify families on the job type thing. Because families that may not have qualified before can possibly qualify now. We looked at we dug deep into the Title 28 guidelines, and we were able to find a loophole, I should say, but it's absolutely legal, where we could qualify them at that 85% below federal poverty level or 200%. So it's a higher threshold. So what we do now for these fundings is first we take their income, and if they meet that 200%, we're good. If not, we look at that 85. And the reason we wanted to do that, there's so many applicants that were $5 over. And so this 85% will help us qualify those families. So now we're tasked with finding those families, getting the information, and filling those seats. Now that's not public pre-K, K-12, pre-K through 12, but it's feeding into public pre-K. So when y'all see that on social media, please encourage families to apply for the early childhood.
What is the Type 3 class? Type 3?
Child care centers, we can't use this word anymore, daycare centers. But that's what they are. Those are the ones who are in academic approval. I know they're in academic approval. That means that they conduct class observations. They use the same curriculum that we use. Ms. White has helped supported them with transitioning to Broad Street. And so, yeah, that's what that is.
And one more question. Any funding, you said that the funding, 600,000 last year from Rapids Foundation, is this funding given on an annual basis to early, or you get it once a year, annually? You have money left from last year from Rapids?
We had to, we received the money last year for this school year.
Okay.
And this is the first time they've done this. What we will need to do is prove that we need it. We have to show that we can't, whatever we don't use, we have to send it back. And so we have a strategic plan, they're not to leave a dime. However, we need the bodies. They will only pay for seats. That's it. We need the bodies. 70 infants through 3-year-olds. And then the last one is our lead agency, which helps pretty cut class observation, things that we have to do to remain a lead agency. We receive those dollars. But to put it in perspective, we had about 14, maybe 15 early childhood type funds, and this year I think we have about 4 or 5. That's what we're going with.
Question, how long have you been in this position now? Has it been 2 years?
Yes,
2 years? I just want to say I love your passion, and every time you speak to us, it grows and grows and grows, and thank you for your hard work.
Okay.
It's a lot of hard work, and we really appreciate you.
Now, I love this team I'm working with too, and honestly, Dr. Eloy and just his leadership, and I'm not just blowing smoke, but I'm serious. I have been in this district a long time, and it not to get emotional, I love to see the direction we're going, because it's been a long time coming, so, yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
I do have one more question.
Oh,
I don't know if you know, but what about kindergarten? How old do they have to be? 5, and like when do they have to turn it off?
That's not my lane.
It's a,
Jennifer?
It's September, they have to be, September 30th. September 30th, they have to be 5 years old.
But on or before?
They have to be honored before September 30th.
Well, thank y'all so much for listening. If y'all have any questions, you know how to contact me.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Page.
I'll let you. Thank you.
Ms. Page, any changes to your report? You got a couple in there? I see a couple of that. Board members, any questions on this?
I got a question on, with that, the capital project at 396,000. That's one project, or that's, because I know somebody said about the asphalt, redoing it on it with the capital outlay. Down on the,
We were on the personnel report, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're
in the government, whatever government,
we're gonna move to it in a second. Any more questions on Ms. Page? All right. Okay, now, I think,
yeah,
yeah,
on the,
This one down here.
on the,
On the audit.
the audit update.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. Well, Mr. Wassman's on vacation, but what that is, Mike, yeah, we pull it
I'm
up.
sorry, I was like, are we there yet?
no, wait,
It's the,
please accelerate.
let's see, the fund balance sheet, that's what it.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, go to
That one,
where are we
all
at?
the way over to 390, what is 396?
96.
So what I believe is that that's the end result of, I think there was still money left over in that, if I remember correctly, bond 9.
19 million.
That's the
And,
one city, that's city.
yes, sir, and
Consolidated now.
Because he had said something about the parking lot.
parking lot at Niagara Central.
And
I
that's
think-
what it's costing, then 390?
I don't think that was the full amount, but I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna need to email Lee your
Okay.
exact question, because without him being here, I think I'd probably be fibbing to you a little bit.
Okay. Cause that's what I was wondering, if it costed $396, $1,000, why didn't we bid it out? Cause I thought we had a certain thing we bid, if that's what, for just the parking lot is costing that.
Yeah, and that,
We should have had it bid.
but I
bid
don't
out.
think the parking lot, because I haven't been over to Central in a few weeks, but I don't think that was enough to do that. I think what he meant by that was the starting balance that was remaining, and the last bit of it was the parking lot, but not the full 396.
Okay.
But I'll get clarification for you.
Okay.
That would have been a lot of asphalt. Sorry about that, I didn't know what, I was confused as ever.
We were in
When we
the
started asking about
personnel.
numbers, I was like, on the personnel?
Yeah, we were in personnel.
Bill had saying the question that I thought he was talking about the other one. So, sorry for confusing y'all.
All right.
Oh, Mr. Wascom just messaged me, he said that was not the total amount. Apparently he's watching, so hello, Mr. Wascom. But no, it was not 396,000.
All right. Any more questions, Lou?
No.
Okay, Mr. Watson.
Step over here so I don't project behind these men.
I'm excited about bullet 2 on your report.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
So we actually just finished our rounds of the summer refresher for every single one of our drivers. They all got a refresher, the 30-hour LDOE, which is required by the state of Louisiana. It's the only state that requires it, but it was a great course to use for these drivers to get their head back into safety going into the next school year. We also took advantage of the parking lot at NJH and decided to do some backing training as well, because I'm not going to say any names. Some of our drivers needed it. Bullet 2. Yeah, we're going to be coming into 24-25 fully staffed. Look out for new faces of the team. Some people may show up to your doorstep confused. Help them.
Also not dropping off kids.
No, of course not. For anyone watching who's wondering what bus or route their student is riding, that information is going to be made available on August 1st. We'll have all the routes and where they're generalized to, but anyone who needs specific information for what route their student rides can contact us at the terminal. We'll give you that information easily. So I'm asking them to look out for a proper announcement to come from y'all.
Yeah, we'll be making an announcement not only for that, but Ms. China is doing, I think she's done in years past, where it's a one-stop shop for all links concerning the beginning of school. It'll have everything a parent needs, and that'll be a major part of it.
Yep. But other than that, I will say we are regrettably going to miss the glow up with NPSB tomorrow.
But last year y'all were only there because y'all were recruiting, and you don't have a need to recruit right now. So
That, but I feel like we need to be involved in our community. But right now we are so focused on trying to become a better, terminal for the Natchez Parish School Board. We want to take that refocus into 24-25 and then be able to show up at the glow up next year, with a huge booth.
With a glow up.
Yeah, with a glow up.
So we can do it again in Halloween, right? Okay.
Did y'all have any questions for me? All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
All right, Ms. Page, I spoke out of turn. I was looking at the July 9 report. The July 16 report is a much different animal. Okay. And Superintendent Eloy hit it very nicely at the bottom of this report. Board members, any questions from Ms. Page? Okay, thank y'all. Ms. Palmer?
Yes. Finance, Facilities, Services, and Insurance aid, discuss and consider approval of effective schools grant, the Refuge Parish Foundation, J Church, and C. McClain.
Second. Okay, we had an offer by Mr. McGuire, second by Mr. Fredo. They want to give us money? I think we want.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
All right. 6B, discuss and consider MOU between NSU and Nashville School Board. Ms. Pinckney.
I'll offer.
Second.
We have an offer by Mr. McGuire, second again by Mr. Friday, which is already run through by the enrollment. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
6C, discuss and consider approving an MOU between LSU Ag Center and Natchez Parish School Board. Mr. Benefield.
I'll offer that item.
I'll second.
Offer by Benfield, second by Pastor Harris, of our annual MOU between the Ag Center and Natchez Parish School Board. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay.
6D, discuss and consider approving winning bid for Natchez Central High School AC renovation project to Storier Services. Mr. Watson.
I'll second.
Okay, offer Mr. Friday, second by Mr. Nicholson. We discussed that, Mr. Shirley last week. Any discussion, further discussion? Roll call on that, Ms. Rose.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey? Yes. Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
6E, discuss and consider change order number 5 and number 6 of the central office renovation project.
I'll offer that.
Second.
Second by Ms. Phelps. This is all covered under
Yes.
federal money.
Oh, well, it's 377,000 less 11,000. The 11,000 would come from general. What it is if you look out there at that building, the facade, and I'll be honest with y'all know I'm not big on construction, as Mr. Stewart is well aware. But I thought a facade really was just something to make it look pretty, but in this case, to make it look ugly. So for the longest, we weren't even considering this as something we could do with federal dollars. The contractors that came to us, and I have a set of pictures if y'all would like me to send them to y'all. The facade has numerous holes and gaps that, if you recall when we fixed the roof, the problem was air penetration, moisture penetration, and then also rodent and pest penetration and infestation. So what this will do is that will address that, and because of my new knowledge that is necessary to keep a building efficient with HVAC, it will be covered. The less than 11,000 though, if you look at that building over there, it's going to look just like that on the outside with the stucco facade, but it needs signage. Well, I cannot go to the federal government and say the signage is necessary for this project. The signage is extra. So all 377,000 of it we are putting towards ESSER 3 with the exception of the signage, which I believe is $11,000, and that would come from general.
So is that in the first, there's a 13,000?
It's in the first, yeah, 11,289. Yeah.
Okay. So the second.
A second?
Yeah, I was looking at the first one. It's the
Yeah,
5.
me too.
Which I think
What is the signage going to say?
it'll say NPSB Central Office. If you look at the NPSB Technology Building, it's going to look just like that. It'll be on the front.
Any further discussion before members? We have an offer and a second. Ms. Rebels, can we do a roll call on this?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
We have a motion passed.
One of those. We get to choose, right? Okay, thank you, Ms. Rebels. All right.
All right. 6F, approved bid for technology vehicles. Mr. Kozak.
I'll offer that.
Second.
Okay, Mike, we have the floor.
All right, we received 2 bids One from Bear Jeep Chrysler and Ram over by the interstate, and one from Calvin Braxton Ford in Lockport. Both bidders satisfied the requirements of bidding. However, the lowest bid, for some reason, didn't meet our specification. We only had 3 specifications for the vehicle, which was only 2 rows of seating, the color of the vehicle white, and it needed 70 cubic feet or more cargo space behind the first row. We came up with those bids when we were out car shopping basically and trying to fit server boxes into the back of these SUVs, because remember, we're trying to replace vans, but we can't get vans. So we decided that 3rd row seating was taking up way too much cargo space, and that's why we put it in the bid requirements. The proposed vehicles from the lowest bidder there, after confirming with both the manufacturer and the dealership, do in fact have 3rd row seating. So according to policy DJED and state law, I wrote my recommendation to the lowest bidder that met specifications, which was Bear at the price of $115,806. They were both within $2,200 of each other on the 3 vehicle bids. So
You said these are both local? The Bear is the one by the interstate?
Bear's local.
Okay.
The Braxton Ford place, obviously, the owner is local, but the dealership is actually down south in Lockport, Louisiana.
I just didn't know that was the name of the Bear place, or the Jeep Chrysler place.
That used to be Legacy. Bear's from Shreveport bought that one, and now the Dodge dealership in Natchitoches is Bear.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't know the name before.
So,
It's confusing because one owner used to own one here and live here, and the other one used to be owned in Shreveport and there, but now they switched, so the person that lives here owns the one down south versus, yeah.
so you couldn't take that 3rd row seat out and give you more room?
Well, I thought about it, and I did look into a YouTube video of what you would have to do. You do have to pop trim pieces and get your ratchet set out and take those seats out. Honestly, it makes me cringe just a little bit taking a brand new vehicle and start popping it apart to remove something versus just receiving it bid as spec. Then I started actually looking into the policy and the law, and if the bid was fairly specific, 2 rows of seating only was the actual advertisement, and our policy says shall be advertised and let by contract to the lowest responsible bidder who has bid according to the specifications as advertised. And then the state law says shall be advertised and let by contract to the lowest responsible bidder who has bid according to the specifications as advertised. So I felt that by following policy and following state law, if we basically change the requirements and specifications of our bid after the fact to match the vehicle that someone had bid by modifying it, I don't think that's following the law. And that's what my recommendation is based on.
And these are the only 2 dealerships that met the requirements?
They're the only 2 that bid.
The only 2 that did?
Yeah, we were looking
I see
for,
that they on the list, I just.
yeah, we were looking, I was really hoping someone would bid Ford Edges, but, you know, because that's one of the vehicles when we were out shopping around and putting server boxes in cars that we thought was going to be the best fit for us, but no one bid them.
So the vehicles that are bid from Bear, did y'all?
We did, we looked at those. They were one of, actually both of these vehicles, the Ford Explorers and the Jeep Grand Cherokees, are both vehicles that we looked at in person and put server boxes in. And out of the 2 of them, I can tell you that the 2-row Cherokee that he bid works out better for our needs. The 3-row Ford Explorer, it just, those 3rd rows are really nice if you got a lot of extra kids, but when you're trying to build a van out of an SUV, it's just a lot of stuff in the way. Hence why the bid originally said 2 rows to try to get someone to push the Ford Edges, but we didn't get them.
And all this has to be delivered by September 3rd.
That's correct, and with the bid packet from Bear, they advertise that all 3 vehicles are already built and in various stages of shipping. When I was doing my due diligence researching these bid proposals, they actually do show on Jeep's website that they have 3 vehicles matching their order. en route to their dealership right now, according to their online inventory. So I feel like, although I can't say this officially, I think they already ordered them, and they're hoping, you know, if they get it, they get it. If not, they'll be reselling them. But I feel like they went ahead and got those vehicles and allocated them.
Did you check with the other one to see that they do the same thing?
With this one, as far as inventory,
Yes.
I did not check inventory on that as far as coming in. They did list an expected delivery date on or before September 30th of 2024. Once I realized that the vehicle specifications didn't match, I didn't continue down that path.
Okay, any further discussion?
Is what you sent them asking for the specific rows of seating, is that in here or not?
I have a copy of it right here. It was posted on Central Bidding, and it was part of the advertisement. I can bring this up and show it to you. And then I also have the agenda item, which was on board docs from when you all approved the advertisement for the bid. And both of them specifically state only 2 rows of seating. And I'll let you guys pass those around. But it was part of the specs. I'm sorry.
Did you contact the one with the 3rd row seat and see if they would, the dealership would take the 3rd row seat out of that and give you more room with no more cost?
I did not. I think that would be modifying not a standard feature at that point.
But it's, when you're buying a vehicle, you can tell them what you want and stuff, and you could tell them add a bench seat in the middle or whichever, and if without no more cost to it, it would give you more room. If the Ford, it would be better for Ford dealership to take the 3rd row seat out and give you more room than y'all taking it out. And I would ask them would they do it with this bid and just seeing that to give you a whole lot more room than the Jeep.
I would have to defer to someone that knew more about taking the vehicles out of seats. You know, part of me thinks, what does that do? Does it make it so there's a hole in the carpet with bare metal floorboards in the back? I just don't like the idea of having to modify a brand new vehicle to make it fit our needs.
Well, they buy, people buy brand new vehicle, modify them all the time. They bring them to us to modify them all the time. And you don't never have no problem with it. That's why, you know, I know you is you and me is me, but I'd ask, first thing I'd ask, could you do away with this 3rd row seat and make it where it's not gonna be notable and give us more room?
The bid did not specify removing any sort of seat, so to me, then that no longer is meeting the specifications still, and I think you run into that legal issue of the other bidder coming back and saying you didn't bid a spec, because all I have to go off of based what the information I was given was the website's manufacturer details, and then the phone call I made to the dealership confirming that it's 3 row vehicles.
Well, and 2, realize this is staff recommendation. Now, we are obviously trying to follow the law in our staff recommendation, but board, y'all have the authority to vote. I mean, y'all are going to vote on this. So I think the way Mike is handling it is by statute and policy, and that's the way we want to, but then y'all still have flexibility.
In the world of global sourcing, when you put a request a quote out to multiple vendors, he did exactly by law what he was supposed to do. You cannot modify that after the fact to be able to give that job to somebody else just because you know them or they're your friends. By law, he did exactly what he's supposed to do.
Any further discussion, board members? The motion on the floor is to accept the staff recommendation of Abear on this base bid of $115,806. Ms. Roberts, can you do a little call vote?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Abstain.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
No.
Mrs. McGaskey?
No.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey? Yes. Mr. Fradu?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Oh, that concludes finance.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. Mr. Danby?
Item 7A, discuss and consider appointment of school board representative for parish-wide ITEP board. Mr. Penfield.
I make a motion that we do that at this time.
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. McGuire. We talked about the options of board president being the representative for ITEP versus the superintendent. Superintendent, board presidents will rotate out, superintendent usually don't, unless we fire him. And so we haven't done that lately, but anyway, point out, I think continuity would be best served by the Niagara School Board for the superintendent to get the details and come back to the board and report out what was found, because it's going to be an ITEP parish committee, as Ms. McGaskey pointed out last week. And so it would consist of the sheriff, the mayor, parish president, or whatever entities are involved in that ITEP. And so that's my recommendation, to appoint the superintendent to be our ITEP representative.
So that's your motion.
I second it.
Any discussion on that, board member? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Item 7B, discuss and consider adopting policy 814, student participation in non-athletic extracurricular programs.
I move that we adopt the policy.
I'll second.
Approval of a motion by Ms. Phelps, a second by Ms. Page, to adopt this policy. We talked about it last week, which essentially levels the playing field, no pun intended, for athletes and the extracurricular activity. Any discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Call up to Ms.
Are you complete?
I'm complete.
Okay, Mr. McGuire, do you have a message?
I move we adjourn.
All right.
We have a second by Mr. Fradu. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you.
She has a moment.